So with that being said, man, what side are you on when it comes to transgenders playing in women's sports?
These are conversations that need to be had.
Hey, God, that's right. That's
Hmm.
all it is. That's
Look,
all it
I
Right.
is.
believe in equality for everybody. I'm a I'm a veteran. I believe in life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for everybody. But when we're talking about sports, strictly as a sport in a sport environment, okay. I, if you want to participate, look, sports brings us together. Look, how many shows are on TV and radio and internet, that deal with sports, and what brings us together with sports is, it brings people together. It brings people together. There's nothing like going to a fight party or watch a Super Bowl party or watching a big game. We just had the NCAA, the Final Four and all of that good stuff. But when you're talking about competition, look, women are just now really getting their shine. We've seen the women's soccer, the women's national soccer team. I remember Brandy Chastain back in the day, taking when they won, and we saw with Caitlin Collins and but if you want to compete, I think that there should be a separate division transgender. That's what I would like to see, where you still can compete, but I do not want to see somebody who was born as a man competing against biological women. I don't want to see that. I think it gives them a disadvantage. And I understand, look, obviously none of us are doctors here, geneticists. None of us here, not that I know of, but I would like to see, if transgenders would like to compete, I would like to see them in their own separate category, and maybe they can get something going there. There wasn't the WNBA years ago, and we finally got a WNBA. Maybe there could be some type of league that deals directly with transgender, but that's something that I would like to see. I didn't offend nobody, did I?
Okay, I'll go next. And I don't care who I offend. I stand by this. Don Staley is an idiot. Okay, I don't know what Don Staley is doing, and I want to root for Don Staley because she went to Virginia. Yeah, she seemed like a solid person, but what I don't like is, okay, some people say she's saying these things to be politically correct. No, be authentic. Why do we need to be politically correct? Be authentic. I can't respect somebody that's not being authentic. You can change your mind on things. You could educate yourself and learn and say, hey, I was wrong. But if you truly don't believe that, why say it? I don't. That's why I don't like Dawn Staley in this instance. What she doesn't realize is she's actually hurting the women's game when she says males born now acting as women. That's hurting women's sports. I don't have a daughter yet, but I want to protect women's sports if I have a daughter that plays in women's sports. Some of you here have daughters. You should be against what Don Staley is saying because you want to protect what your daughter or nieces are playing in. What Don Staley is saying is basically, why do women's sports need to exist? They don't need to exist if we're going by what Don Staley said. Let's just open it up. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, all of them with the men's tournament. There's no more women's sports. We're all putting it together. That's basically what she's saying. Why? We need to defend women's sports. I don't agree with the Leah Thomas situation with swimming. Imagine you having a daughter, spending money, taking her on trips, to having her become the best swimmer in the world. You've spent all this time and money driving her around and taking her to these competitions, and your daughter's the best swimmer in the nation. And then they allow a Leah Thomas to enter, who was, I don't know what ranked men's, but definitely not top 50. And of course, we know men are stronger. It is what it is. It's not a diss towards women. They're stronger. They're faster. They're just biologically made like that. And Leah Thomas crushes your daughter. you're gonna be pissed. You're gonna be like, no, that's not fair. Straight up. And so, I looked at the numbers. There's currently 33 transgender athletes in the NCAA. Now, how many NCAA athletes are there? I don't know, 200,000, let's say. Yeah, I mean, a ridiculous number. So 33 is 0.00 whatever. But I don't like opening that up. I don't. That's 33 too many, because you've allowed a certain number already, and it's just going to keep rising over the years. I don't. There's no opinions here. Your gender is a fact. That is genetically what you are. We gotta hold on to that. I can't believe this is even a topic nowadays. I mean, imagine us having this topic 15 years ago. People are like, bro, there's males, there's females, there's no, switching off. There's no I identify as this. Well, I identify as this poster board in my room. It just that doesn't make sense. And what I really don't like about Dawn Staley's comments, what really bothers me, is she's been posting a lot about her faith. Well, if you believe in the same God I believe in, that God put us on earth to be either male or female. He did not put us on this earth to switch up and cut our genitals off. Let's keep it 100. If we're talking about the same God, I don't know what God she's praising, because the God I know of, that God would not approve of that from what I've read. So if people will maybe see me as controversial, I think it's the opposite. I think if you're vouching for that and saying that's okay, that's controversial. I'm talking about the most common sense thing here. And so that I'm not, I know people can say Dawn Staley can have her opinion. Yeah, but I don't want to support somebody with that opinion. I don't. Like, we can disagree who's better, the Colts or the Saints and things like that. But I'm not having an opinion on body parts and things like that. So that I want to like Dawn Staley, but I want her to speak facts. She is hurting the women's game by allowing these comments. She's hurting. We need to.
I would like to have a rebuttal with that real quick. And look, I don't have any skin. I don't have any skin in the game. You're looking at this purely as a. So what if you're the parent of the transgender child?
I would be against.
You're saying it. You're saying that as a. On the other side, I don't have a transgender child, but I also think I would like to try to be understanding. Look, there's always going to be a first for everything. Contrary to popular belief, there used to be people back in the day that thought that having blacks in Major League Baseball was a bad idea. You're ruining the game. Okay? So there's people that thought that a guy like Michael Sam, first openly gay player in the NFL, that he was bad for the game. So there's always going to be that first or second person that comes out and they're going to take hell. There were people, I need you to watch that movie 42 about Jackie Robinson, and he's ruining baseball. Why is this color guy coming from the colored leagues, and coming over here to Major League Baseball? So I would say try to be understanding. Again, I don't have a transgender child. I don't know anybody who has a transgender child, but I would say that I would like to see them accommodated, but I'm with you on the fact that I don't want to see my daughter out there competing against a person. I do have a daughter. I would not like to see my daughter competing against a person who was a biological male. I damn sure wouldn't like to see him in combat sports, whereas MMA or boxing or something like that. Swimming's a different thing, but I would hope that people will be understanding and look at it from the other perspective. When your child is good at a sport, and then there are some people that are born different, So I would just like to rebut that. That's all.
I mean, I get what you're saying, and the only thing that bothers me about the first point you made is you said you're all about equality. Well, yes. I believe if you made a transgender league, I believe those transgenders be like, no. We are equal to the regular human. We want to be in that league. So yes, you maybe have the right idea, saying you can have your own thing and that's equality. They're going to be like, no. We want to be equal like you in that same league. So that's the way I think it would go. So I also want to mention, I don't know if you guys know this. The person that asked the question of Dawn Staley also asked the Iowa women's coach. The Iowa women's coach said, that's an important question, but I'm not ready to answer right now. Now, I don't know how she feels about it, but I do respect her for at least saying, I'm not ready to, she didn't give the politically correct answer. She basically didn't give an answer. So I don't know if Dawn Staley truly believes this or is given a politically correct answer, but I like that the women's Iowa coach did not at least give us the political answer. So I respect that. So I'm just saying, like, we can disagree on the Saints and the Colts and the Cowboys and whatever, but bruh, some things are facts, and we are born men or we are born women. I used to love D Wade as a player. I don't agree with D Wade whatsoever what he did with his child, and I never will. And he loved
Boosie.
or Boosie. Boosie was like, hell no. Hell no. And I respect Boosie and I respect whoever else said these things. I respect that because they're standing on their 2 feet. Now Boosie and now Boosie can't afford it. If Boosie gets canceled, at least he's still got millions in the bank account. So look, I understand people can have their opinions, but I truly think people need to realize Dawn Staley is hurting the same sport and the same gender by saying, hey, that other gender can play in this league. And if that's the truth, why have women's sports at all? Let's put it all together then. So that's my stance on it.
All right, let me get some of this, man. All right, so here's where I am with it. First off, my personal belief: no, I do not believe that transgender men should play in against women, or as they like to call them, cisgendered women or whatever. Right? I don't believe that. I believe that that if you were born a male, you have certain chromosomes that make us stronger, faster, everything that makes us genetically, I hate to put it like this, genetically superior to a woman, that you still possess. That you still possess. The things that keep women from like keep a woman from boxing a male. You know what I mean? The same things that you still possess those, whether you decide that that's not what you identify it as not or not. You still possess those things. You got these big old hands. You know what I mean? you're strong as hell. You got we like to call it grown man strength. Like, you know what I mean? So you still have these things, right? So no, I don't believe that. But here's my question. When it comes to it. The question we're talking about is her statements, right? Her statements on allowing it. I got a question about, you mentioned the guy who asked the question. What was the purpose of that question?
So basically, he works for Outkick, who's owned by Klay Travis, and Klay Travis is big on talking about basically these big topics that a lot of people won't address. So that's why on purpose, Klay Travis is not getting answers from people. So he sent out his own people to all different types of sports press conferences, and he's going to continue doing this. He's going to continue putting people on the spot to see what their thoughts are on this. And basically, the goal there is to see who's going to cave and say the politically correct thing and who's going to stand on their own 2 feet. So in a way, I respect it because, like I said, I don't want people to be politically correct. I want people to stand on what they truly believe, even if it's something I don't agree with, but don't say the politically correct thing.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know that that's her being politically correct.
I don't know either.
I think that how she answered it was okay. So you're gonna ask me that question right now while I'm getting ready for the biggest game, and I'm gonna answer it. It was more like a challenge. Like you thought I wasn't gonna answer it, but yeah, I'm gonna answer it. And one thing about Dawn Staley is, do we even know her sexuality?
I heard that. So I heard she doesn't have kids and she's not married, but I heard that she's lesbian. I don't know.
Right. So we don't know. She's been very secretive about her sexuality up until this point. So the thing about it is we don't know if that's how she actually feels or not. And it's more of a as a competitor, she may be like, well, yeah, if they feel like they're girls and they come out here and compete, come on, bring them. That's cool. I'm just gonna scheme something up and shut their big asses down too.
She ain't that oblivious, though. She ain't that oblivious.
Bro, I'm not saying she doesn't have to be oblivious. That may be how she feels. And the reason why I asked you what was the purpose of that question is Dave Chappelle had a famous joke a few years ago on his special. He's talking about how during 9/11, MTV was like, yeah, we have Ja Rule live on the line, and they were asking him how he felt about 9/11, and he was like, man, I don't give a damn how Ja Rule feels about 9/11. Nobody in their right mind is like, yeah, we're under attack. I wonder what Ja Rule thinks about this. Somebody get Ja Rule on the line fast. Why are we asking Dawn Staley about this? This doesn't matter. She doesn't have her opinion on this subject does not matter.
Yes, it does. She's the women.
She's a major coach for a college program. Yes, her opinion does matter.
She has no vote on this. Like what
it's not about the vote. It's her what's the right word? Influence on the sport, because she's the champ now 3 times, and she's literally hurting the women's game by saying this, I believe.
Her saying this is not going to change it. That doesn't allow them in there. The NCAA has specific rules. If you transition after puberty, you cannot play in the NCAA on a woman's team. Now her saying that she doesn't care. Basically, that's what she said. She said she doesn't care. She said they identify as a woman. They feel like they're a woman and come play.
She doesn't care until Tristan Newton transitions and whips in South Carolina, and then she's gonna say, "Oh wait, that's not fair." So she doesn't care until her team's affected by an actual transgender male that crushes South Carolina.
But that's what I'm saying. Most people
just like you wouldn't care until your daughter's beat by that swimmer that's really a male. That's the thing. People don't care until they are influenced and actually part of it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like things like that, we're not in control of. That the asking her that question is I feel like that's one of those gotcha questions. Nothing she could have said at that time. If Iowa's coach was asked that question and she declined to answer it, that was very smart of her. That was very smart of her. I think that Dawn Staley, she just said, she was like, okay, you don't think I'm gonna answer it, I'm gonna answer it. And she just basically said, I don't care. And I don't think that her not caring or saying, yeah, they can play is going to affect if they play or not. Her influence she is very influential. That's not going to make the NCAA brass say, hey, we need to think about that, man. We need to go ahead and let them play now. That's not going to affect that. Said by that, that's equaling no change.
Not yet.
But it can spark the talk. And we'll talk about that in a second. But I want Kiel to go first. Because if you don't mind, Kiel, I would like to go last because I want to unpack everything everybody said by the time I go.
As far as this goes, there's only one blame that this goes on to, and it's Dawn Staley. I think she's the blame for all of this. She sparked this. She didn't even need to answer it, and I don't think the answer that she gave, I don't think she was being truthful. I don't think she wanted backlash towards what she had to say. I think she felt like she had to say the right thing, and I don't think that was the right thing though. And Don Staley is not just speaking for the University of South Carolina. I'm pretty sure somebody from the athletic director from the higher ups in South Carolina. I'm pretty sure somebody got offended by it. She's not just speaking for the basketball team for the university. She's speaking for women's basketball, man. And I think she's and I feel like if LeBron James woke up the next morning and decided he wanted to play for South Carolina, imagine how things would turn out, man. And right now, women's sports is in a good place right now, and they're trying to get the respect, the notoriety. They struggle getting the pay. Also, we were talking about uh the players from the WNBA. They don't get paid. They get paid crumbs, man. The money that Caitlin Clark got offered compared to what she was about to get in the WNBA when she gets there, the amount of NIL deals that Angel Reese is getting to what she's about, the money that the WNBA is about to pay her, those are crumbs to what they about to get. And it's just that they struggle with all of this and everything that they go through as females in general. And then we want to bring this up, the transgenders. I just don't think it's right. I think biologically, if you're born as a man, you play with the fellas. If you're born as a woman, you play with the females. And if you guys, if people wanted to create all of that and saying they should play, maybe they should start a co-ed league. Maybe we should call women's basketball the co-ed league. And I just think it'll hurt the sport of women's basketball because you got 18-year-olds, seeing things like this. And I just imagine how their parents feel. Just imagine how somebody's dad or brother feels when you see, a kid that is, a female that's getting disadvantaged because somebody that's transgenders. I just don't believe that, and I think if they do allow this, and if this do continue, I think it's gonna hurt the sport of women's basketball. And right now, I'm not just women's basketball, but women's sports in general. And I think it's just going to be a bad look for it, and it's going to hurt the sport. You're going to lose money, you're going to lose scholarships, you're going to lose sponsorship deals. You possibly could lose TV deals. You're probably going to lose ratings, and I don't think nobody's going to want to watch that. And you'll see more hate towards it more than positivity. Right now, you're getting a lot of positivity when it came to women's basketball right now. Look at this. The women's basketball right now, the national title have more viewers than the men's. People are more excited about the women's than the men's right now. I just don't think
Women's national
the
team is somewhere
transgender
too.
situation.
I'm saying,
Yeah,
okay,
I
so
don't think
you're
the
saying all this
transgender
comes
thing.
from Don Staley's comments?
What was that?
You think all
I
of that
just don't
happens
think
because of Don Staley's comments?
a coach like that, a high profile coach that could have a huge impact on the entire basketball culture, not just basketball but sports too. When somebody's a high profile name like that, people's gonna is gonna persuade people's decisions. It's gonna be like, hey, is she right or is she wrong?
Okay. Okay. Well, let me start by saying, bro. My everybody so far, I think y'all made great points, but I like what Marcus said probably the most. And there's no disrespect to you guys. Change is inevitable. Change is inevitable. We have change that's going to happen for the rest of the time. When we look back 100 years ago, things are a lot different. We're going to look back. We're going to look forward 100 years. It's going to be totally different than it is for today. The conversation needs to be had, and that's just what it is. At the end of the day, one thing Yvonne said, you respect Boosie. That's what you said because you agreed with him. But why can't you respect somebody when you don't agree with them?
Facts.
That's what I'll say. Because my thing is, I don't whip my kids. We're gonna do something simple like that. I don't whip my kids. But if you choose to whip your kids, hey, that's you. That is you. And I respect you regardless of how I feel. We can have a difference of opinion. And I think that's what stops the world from being better than what we are. You know, I'm gonna tell y'all, and I'm gonna get a little bit more deep with y'all. I don't really read the comments in our group chat because I'm looking at like 10 group chats, and like I get like 1,000 messages a day. I'm like, I tell Q all the time, I'm not reading all that. I tell Cupid all the time, I'm not reading all that. But sometimes I'll catch things. And just because we don't agree on something doesn't mean we have to be disrespectful towards what other people feel. You may not agree with it, and that's fine. Nobody's saying that you have to agree with it. But when you start taking away free will and how somebody should feel, that's where I disagree with you at. We don't have to agree. We can agree. One of the best quotes I've ever heard was, we can agree to disagree. Now, with that being said, do I think transgender people should be playing in college, women's college sports? No, I don't. But I'm not knocking Don Staley for how she feels. I would love to have that conversation with her to see why she feels the way she feels. Now, granted, she may be saying that because might be trying to land a person that's transgender to come play for South Carolina. Y'all saying that somebody would beat South Carolina. She may get somebody that's transgender because she made that statement. Now, granted, I don't know why she said what she said. I'm not here to, argue why she said what she said. But I just want to point out a few things. Why would a transgender person want to play in the WNBA if they were that good? Why wouldn't they want to play in the NBA? The NBA makes much more money. If I'm transgender, even if I'm transgender, if you ask Caitlin Clark truthfully, if she was good enough to make it to the NBA and not just the WNBA, which one would she want to play in? I'm pretty sure she's going to say the NBA because she'll make more money playing the NBA. So if a transgender person is transgender, why would they want to play with the women, even though they identify if they can make more money playing in the men's sport? I love what Marcus said about having a transgender league. Why not? At the end of the day, you could have those type of things. My biggest takeaway from this conversation that I want all of us that are on this panel and even out there is going to see this video, regardless if we agree with it or not, there's no reason to disrespect people because we don't have the same opinion. You could have different religions. You said that Dawn said, I don't know what God she serves. And she don't have to prove what God she serves to you. At the end of the day, she sees it one way, you see it another. There's no reason to be disrespectful, and she shouldn't be disrespectful towards you. If you're a Republican or a Democrat, why does that matter? At the end of the day, you have your thoughts, they have their thoughts, and look, we're going to roll with whoever's the president of the United States. We're going to roll with whatever it is, but we don't have to be disrespectful because we don't agree with a certain person. At the end of the day, we all have our thoughts. That's the beautiful thing about this world. We have a free mind to do whatever we want as far as with our life. So that's my thing. If John Staley feels that way, that transgenders should be able to play, that's her opinion. I would love to have more dialogue with her to understand why, because I don't agree with it. But it doesn't mean that she's an idiot or stupid or anything like that. Let's educate ourselves. Let's learn to why she feels the way she feels, and that's just the way I see things.
X, here's the only issue with with what you said, and my question is: you have 3 daughters.
Absolutely.
You let's say one of your daughters, best swimmer in the world, finally enters the Olympics, and they allow Leah Thomas, a man, to compete against her, and your daughter finishes second, something she was training for her whole life. Are you just going to let that happen and you're going to say, well, the Olympics, that's their opinion and we got to stick with it?
I mean, if the Olympics allowed her to play, regardless, we always talk about sports. Rules are rules. If they allow her to swim, hopefully I have my daughter prepared enough to beat her. If that's the rule, we can have a conversation. But at the end of the day, my daughter she's going to have to beat him. Or beat her.
And I have a question for you. If you have a transgender child and they say that they want to play sports, what do you say to them?
No.
I'm taking my transgender child to the hospital and get them evaluated. I mean, I'm not letting that I'm not pulling a D Wade and just, hey, you go ahead and switch genders. D Wade allowed his son, a daughter, whatever, at 12 years old. Bro, I'm making mistakes at 30. What the hell did I know at 12 years old? D Wade failed as a father. I don't care that he's got $300 million in his bank account. I don't care. You got to do better as a child, as a father. And that's the thing. If my son or daughter said, hey, I'm confused about what gender I am, we're getting you to the best rehab center. Whatever. It's not, or we're moving to
I
another
understand that, but
country.
what if they say that they want to play sports? I understand the whole thing with that. They say you're gonna
I'm,
tell,
I'm
well,
gonna
I
say
don't want you playing sports.
well, no, I'm gonna say you're playing sports with the gender you were born. If you were born female, you're playing it with the females.
But there's a lot of females that play with the males right now. And when you have me and C, when you have young kids, they play with the
I
males.
mean,
So I
sure,
mean,
that's okay up until a certain age. And I'm saying, let's say at 14, you have to go a certain way. I'm be like, well, you were born a female, you're competing with the females. All I'm saying is, I'm going to do everything in my right to like keep it that way. And I hope karma doesn't get me for these comments, and I have to deal with that one day. But what I'm saying is, like, I'm not going to pull a D Wade and just be like, you know what? Yeah, you're 12 years old. You're old enough to make this decision. Hell no. I don't know a lot of things at 30. I definitely didn't know at 12 years old.
Well,
and
you're
All
look,
right, guys,
making
let's.
your decision as a parent. Who's to say the way that you do is the right way and the way that somebody else said? You just said I don't spank my kids. Well, I'll tell you what. I busted my kid's head to the white meat. I don't I didn't abuse
I know
my
you don't
kids.
mean
All
to
I
do
right.
it.
believe and I
I feel
believe
it.
it. I believe in physically disciplining my kids. Every different strokes for different folks.
Exactly.
True, but I
Exactly.
think
All
there's a
right,
difference
guys.
between allowing gender changes and beating your kids. That's the thing. I
All
don't.
right, man.
Well, we're talking about playing a sport, though, and that's what I'm talking about. Like as far as playing a sport, you said people can have their opinion on that.
All right, man. That's enough, man. All
You
right,
brought it
man.
up,
Go,
man.
So
go,
Don't
go,
let it
go,
up.
go.
no, man. You guys complain about how long the show always goes, so I'm trying to end it at the right time so you guys can get your precious sleep. Because I know you guys, some of you guys down in Texas and Louisiana and down in the East Coast. That's fine.
Boy,
But
it's
yeah,
11
man.
o'clock.
Give.
You right.
And Dawn
All
said it's
right,
gonna
but
have backlash
yeah,
either way. Like I think C said, I think it was C.
Huh?
She was gonna have
all right, man.
backlash
But with
either
that
way, no
being
matter how
said,
she
man,
answered that question.
but with that being said, man, hopefully we don't offend anybody, and it's just our opinions at the end of the day, just a conversation that we felt like we need to have, and we don't duck no smoke over here, man. So, but with that being said, man, give us your thoughts, what you thought about this. This will be uploaded to YouTube later this week. But with that being said, man, that winds up our topics and discussion for tonight. And let's go to our shout outs, man.
Well, I want to say shout out to you, gentlemen, man. Hey, what Marcus said, that's the biggest thing for me. These are conversations we have to have. And I also like what Yvonne says as far as be your authentic self. Say exactly what it is with that how you feel. I hope moving forward we can have more conversations. Me and Q always talk about these things. These are the conversations that I would love to have on the MBS show and this platform because these are the conversations that we have to move forward in this world, in my opinion.